So you have decided your irons are looking a little bit worse for wear and they're not quite going the distance that they used to do. And you're definitely in the market for a new set, but you're not sure which one. What are the 10 things you should consider when changing your irons and buying a new set? Let's discuss it and let's do it now. Hi everyone, James Robinson here. If you're new to the channel, make sure you consider subscribing. I've got loads of great content coming in the next few weeks, months, years, and so on and so forth. Pretty much as long as you guys are going to carry on watching. If you like course vlogs, if you like club reviews, if you like club comparisons, if you like completely and utterly free golf tip, I said free golf tip, make sure you smash that subscribe button so you don't miss any of the content that I've got coming up. Now let's get back to the video. Okay, so number one in my top 10 things of things to consider when you're changing your irons has to be the price. Is there any point you going to a PXG fitting day if your budget hardly screams PXG fitting day? You have to consider how much money you're going to spend changing your irons. What are you hoping to gain from changing said irons? Are you hoping for more distance? Is the money going to make the difference? Would you be better off spending that money and investing it in a series of lessons? That's something which I see quite a lot. People set out on a journey to go and buy new irons, go and spend £1,000, and actually you may improve your game just by a course of lessons and save yourself some money. That's tip number one. Tip number two. How much forgiveness do you need to help improve your game or stabilise your game and keep it at a certain level? Should you be looking at blades? Should you be looking at cavity backs? What about the new Players Power Irons that a lot of brands are bringing out? The Ping i500s, the Taylormade P790s, all fantastic irons. There's so many different ranges of irons out there nowadays, you don't have to just go for a blade or a cavity back like things used to be. Make sure you go and try different clubs, find out how much forgiveness you need, find out how much ball speed and distance you lose on those off-centre hits and how often they occur. That's going to be a big factor, and that is tip number two in my top 10 points to consider when buying iron. Tip number three, distance. Are you looking to improve your distance by changing your irons? Consider the lofts that you're going to purchase. Should you go power lofts? Should you go standard lofts? Should you go retro lofts? Ping are now offering you 3 different types of lofts on your iron. But is that loft necessarily going to gain your distance? Will your spin rates drop too much? Could it cost you distance? It all ties into a good fitting. What about if you go for a bladed iron? Is this going to help you gain distance? I know they look sexy. I've been gaming these bad boys for a hell of a long time. They look amazing, they feel great, but they're not fantastic for distance. So you definitely need to consider what type of head you're going for if you're looking to gain some distance by changing your iron. Is distance not a problem? Do you find that maybe you hit it a little bit inconsistently with your irons? Have you got power irons? Are you dissatisfied with them? I know when I've tested them, I've had the occasional iron that's gone way too far, caught me out and gone out of bounds. Would you be better off with something a little bit more consistent like a blade iron? Again, definitely something you would have to consider when going to a fitting session. Tip number 4. How much workability do you need in your irons? Do you like to shape the ball? Do you like to see a draw? Do you like to see a fade? Are you a bit of a Bubba Watson? Or do you prefer the forgiveness aspect? You can't really have both. You're either going to go for a pretty much player's iron where you have that workability. You can see these kind of irons don't really offer you the forgiveness that, say, a Ping G700 may offer you, or a Ping G400, or a Ping i500, or a Taylormade P790. The list is endless. But do you need a player's iron, or do you need a game improver iron, or something in the middle? Think about the distance, back to tip number 3, but also think about workability. That's tip number 4. What's coming in at tip number 5? Tip number 5, trajectory. How high do I want my irons to go? How low do I want my irons to go? This is something you need to be thinking about when you're gaming irons. What course do you play at? Is it a links course? Is it more a parkland course where you can get the ball up in the air, make sure it lands soft and basically throw darts at the pins? Whereas on the links course where the wind gets up, you're going to need something that's going to flight it a little bit lower. Think of the swing weights that are going to do this. Think of the different head designs. Think of shafts. You can get low trajectory shafts now, you can get high trajectory shafts, shafts that kick in different places to tailor make that trajectory for you. You don't necessarily need a low spinning, low forgiving head to bring the trajectory down. You can get fitted with a nice forgiving head but a nice low trajectory shaft, and that is going to help you bring your trajectory down. And vice versa with a high trajectory shaft. You don't necessarily need big game improving irons to hit the ball high. You could go a nice bladed iron, get a high launching shaft in there and see the ball rise and rise and rise and rise and rise. You know what I mean. Tip number 6, and this is a really important one, so make sure you pay attention. How sexy are these irons? These ones have been in my bag for a very long time for pretty much one reason and one reason only. They are absolutely gorgeous. You have to like the look of your irons. You're going to see them every time you play. You have to like the appeal of them in the bag. If you go and get fitted for a set of irons and you don't like the look of them, you think they're hideous, they look like a dog's dinner, they're no good for you. I've been fitted for irons before which performed well for me, but I didn't like the look of them, I didn't like the feel of them, and those irons didn't last very long. The irons have to be appealing for you, you have to like the branding and you have to like the look. That's tip number 6, and it is a massive one which a lot of people don't think about. It's not all about the performance. We are not all professionals playing for a living, we are playing a hobby, and we have to enjoy ourselves and enjoy the equipment that we're using. Tip number 7. Have I used this brand before? This is something which in my top 10 tips for drivers and golf balls, which I've already done. As I said at the beginning of the video, the links will be below, and I have put cards throughout the video for this. Have I used a brand before? Am I comfortable with it? Do I have good success with it? Do I have fond memories with this brand? If you have terrible memories with a brand and it kills your confidence, are you going to trust it? You have to be able to trust your equipment. It is so important that you can put a club down, know that it's going to work for you, and go with it. Tip number 8. Is my current set of irons any good? Do they need replacing? Are they in poor condition? Do they just need re-gripping? All these things you have to think about if you're going to go out there and spend a hell of a lot of money. Like I said in the first tip, I think it was, with money and price, you have to think, is a new set of irons going to be the answer? Do I need lessons? Is the current set that I'm using pretty good? What do other people say when they see your clubs? Do they say, oh my God, Tom, how old are your clubs? Or do they say, wow, do you remember those golf clubs? They were absolutely fantastic. A lot of people use irons which are older, but if they're players' irons, such as these ones here, the Titleist that I use, they haven't changed in a long time. Yes, technology is coming out all the time. Yes, it's making the game a lot easier and it's improving people's golf. But if you use players' irons, technology isn't moving on that far, it's not advancing that far. Do you need a new set of irons? That's something you need to ask yourself. Tip number 9, we're almost there guys, come on, stay with me. And this is one of the most important ones yet, if not the most important one. What set makeup are you going to use? Can you go full set, 2 iron to pitching wedge in a bladed iron? Probably not, unless you're a scratch handicap or a very, very good ball striker. Can you go like I do, long iron, driving iron, 4 iron, 5 iron, 6 iron in a CB head, and then all the lower irons in a bladed head? That's something which I've done quite a lot and it's worked for me fantastically well. Also, you have to think, what is the longest iron I want to use? Should I slip a hybrid in there? Should I slip a couple of hybrids in there? If that's what you're going to do, I have a top 10 tip for considering buying hybrids video coming up soon. Make sure you subscribe to the video if you haven't already, because that's going to be on the channel in the next few days. And what about the wedges? How many wedges do I need? Do I want a Vokey pitching wedge or do I want a pitching wedge that matches the set? All these things you need to be asking your fitter, you need to be asking your pro, you need to be asking the retail assistant who's selling you the irons. Hopefully it's going to be a fitter or a pro. Let's look at my final tip, tip number 10. I'm sure you guys can guess what it is. I'm going to move the camera around for a little bit of transitional cinematography, if I can say that, but I'm not going to pause the video. I want you guys to spend this time to comment below, tell me what you think the final tip is. Let's do it. You guessed it, you've got to go and get fitted. All the points below are fantastic points, points 1 to 9, very, very important. The most important part when you go and buy irons, get yourself fitted. It's not just for the lie angle, it's not just for the grip, it's not just how strong, weak do you like your lofts. You need to see how that iron performs. you need to say how all the irons perform, and you also need to test all the different shaft options that are available to you. Like I said earlier on in the points middle way through the video, can I have a game improver head with a shaft that launches it down? That's going to help me out depending on what I'm looking for, and vice versa. Everyone, I'm James Robinson. I'm here at Huddersfield Golf Club. If you haven't subscribed already, make sure you do. The channel's growing beautifully and I want you guys to be a part of it moving into the end of the season. Put the thumbs up if you've enjoyed that video and comment below, what irons are you using in 2018? Are you considering changing? Let me know. See you soon.